Paul Verhoeven's 1987 film RoboCop shares many similarities with Jose Padilha's 2014 remake, which tells essentially the same story but has a shift in focus. Whereas the original film was obsessed with consumerism and a man destroyed by criminals who seeks bloody revenge against the evil corporation that let it happen, the newer film is somewhat more concerned by national security and the idea of trying to sell the future to America through a product that is both man and machine. In Padilha's film, Omnicorp find themselves struggling to sell drone law enforcement to America, and so decide to make a product called RoboCop. And in a variety of ways, how Omnicorp tries to sell RoboCop to America is similar to how the filmmakers try to sell this RoboCop movie to their audience. In this video I'm going to compare RoboCop the man, or cyborg, to RoboCop the film.
Oh, this should be interesting.
In both cases, RoboCop is born out of its outrageous marketability. It doesn't get much more high concept than this.
We're gonna put a man inside a machine.
The whole premise is in the title, RoboCop.
Gonna play good cop, bad cop?
Nah, Daniels. Bad cop, RoboCop.
Arguably, the RoboCop franchise is so extensive with sequels, games, a TV show, and of course, this remake, because it is so sellable. As Justin Wyatt writes, a high-concept idea is one that can be easily communicated and is highly marketable. And RoboCop's creators, both inside the film and out, understand this.
I've got to give the American people something they can root for, something aspirational.
And yes, this is Batman making RoboCop look more like Batman.
Make him more, tactical. Make him look, let's go with black.
In the film, we are made privy to many of Omnicorp's decisions in creating RoboCop. We see that they're testing demographics and casting their leading man, just like the filmmakers, of course.
I give you Sergeant Jack Freeman, masculinity incarnate.
And the RoboCop they create is essentially a toy. Angela Ndalianis points out the gun fetish and one-liners of the RoboCop hero,
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
as being tropes of the Western which are adapted into this story. These are also characteristics of the action figure. The gun holster inside his leg, and unique to Padilha's remake, the slick visor that snaps down for combat mode, are physical gimmicks that lend themselves perfectly to a children's toy.
I think I can see the appeal.
Hammering this point home, RoboCop himself is even built in a factory in China, just like any other consumer product. In a world where Disney makes more money from Star Wars merchandise than Star Wars movies, making RoboCop like a toy seems like a logical business move.
No, we're not selling a soft drink here, are we?
And the filmmakers are wary of their audience in this regard. The 1987 RoboCop was R-rated and therefore not ideally positioned to sell action figures to children, even if the idea that kids would love RoboCop is still expressed there.
Can you do that, Dad?
The remake, however, has clearly toned down its violence to achieve a PG-13 rating, even letting RoboCop have a taser for non-lethal arrests. As Simonoff and Sparrow have discussed, the PG-13 rating is ideal as it can pull in both adults and children, and excludes virtually no one. The filmmakers care that young audiences will see their film, just like Omnicorp care what young people think of their product.
Combat mode. It really put the fear of God into the prisoners.
Yeah, that's okay.
Get a load of this.
What's that?
He transforms. Kids love it.
Really?
Focus group numbers through the roof.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
With their drones, and then RoboCop himself, Omnicorp are selling what Brian Sudlow refers to as the automation of violence. Omnicorp wants to put these objective, unthinking machines in charge of dealing with crime and conflict, thereby removing the need for humans to be involved in law enforcement, as the system becomes automatic. And how does this connect to what the filmmakers are selling? Well, they're also selling violence. A stylish, gamified, bloodless violence that could also be described as automated. The film's action features a lot of fast-paced running and shooting. The body count is high, but none of it seems to matter. The violence is there to wash over the viewer without demanding any empathy. As a point of contrast, the 1987 film, in classic Verhoeven style, holds nothing back. As Angela Ndalianis says, Verhoeven doesn't make any compromises by softening the impact of issues he portrays. When RoboCop kills someone, you see the bullets hit, the blood sprays, there's an undeniable impact, and while gratuitous, it's undeniable that it demands a reaction from the viewer. In fact, most of the action in Padilha's film is so standard that I find it somewhat suspicious. Basil Polidorus' rousing RoboCop theme from the original film isn't used, which could have added some excitement. This theme is hardly used at all, in fact, and when it does appear, it's almost as diegetic pep-up music for the comically biased TV program The Novak Element.
How many, like Thomas King, will pay for their crimes now that RoboCop is here? Yes, let's not shy away from what this means, people. Men weren't up to the task.
Jose Padilha's style of filmmaking is clearly less provocative than Paul Verhoeven's. But then, whose isn't? The filmmakers are also using the structure of the film to justify a large degree of violence. Continuing with the idea that RoboCop borrows elements from the Western, Richard Sparks argues that the moral structure of the Western provides a pretext for male violence. It poeticizes the struggles of male heroes, playing up their heroism and grandeur through to the conventional shootout, by which point the viewer is on board for whatever violent punishment the hero must dish out to save the day. While Verhoeven's film showed fictional media broadcasts to emphasize the pervasiveness of the violence in this future world, this emphasis is not required as much in Padilha's remake. In the opening scene we see suicide bombers in Iran, and we know what kind of world we're seeing. Although the film is set in the future, its world is not dissimilar to that of today. And as Jonathan Markovitz argues, post 9/11, the public fear for safety and personal security has intensified, and the desire for peacekeeping drones, or RoboCop, can be understood without having to paint the picture of an ultra-violent, crime-fueled world. With RoboCop, Omnicorp are also selling America the future. In the original film, this is put quite plainly. OCP is literally designing a city of the future. In the remake, however, the future is only implied, a world where technology has power over humanity. Angela Ndalianis says the figure of RoboCop becomes a positive solution to a high-tech future. RoboCop himself is designed with advanced futuristic technology. He's an image of a new breed of soldier. Brian Sudlow comments that the iconic uniform is a reincarnation or recasting of the classic suit of armor, now enhanced extraordinarily. It's the advanced uniform that makes this soldier a vision of the future.
I'd buy that for $1.
Another analogy that can be drawn here is that Omnicorp's selling of the future is like the filmmakers trying to use this film to sell audiences on the RoboCop franchise, namely more sequels. In the final scene of the film, we're deliberately shown that RoboCop is ready for more adventures, more movies.
I want to see what happens.
And like the filmmakers, Omnicorp also want to sell action. And RoboCop is not actually the best that technology can achieve in this area.
2.3 seconds behind.
Their drones are shown to be better, faster, and more effective, but the American public, like audiences, want a human element. So Omnicorp puts a man in a machine, and the filmmakers put a personal story about a man and his family in this action blockbuster. And in both cases, there's tension in the two elements coexisting. The robot part of RoboCop is trying to be in a big, bullet-riddled action film, while Alex Murphy resists, returning to his family for delicate scenes about his relationships and his existential drama.
You know I missed you, buddy.
Me too.
These goals align in the third act, and the true RoboCop is born.
You must be doing a victory lap about now.
In the fiction of the film, the American people believe falsely that with RoboCop they are getting a man who is in control of the machine. Likewise, moviegoers are led to believe they're receiving a film that is the vision of a man, its director. But as has been all but confirmed through telling interviews, it's the studio who is in control of the RoboCop film, and the man is just playing his part.
I mean, Alex believes right now he is in control, but he's not. It's the illusion of free will.
In all these ways, it's fascinating the degree to which the plot of Padilha's RoboCop can be read to line up with the production of the film itself. Luckily for the filmmakers, however, their product didn't end up killing them. Though, they might say it tried.